So what do you say though? Like, what has been the worst and the best thing about COVID for you?
The worst thing for me was just being unable to see my son for 9 months, 10 months. There wasn't even, no question. That
Yeah.
one was way out ahead as just the worst thing. It's weird. The best thing actually was being on the Isle of Skye in my home on Skye for a 9 month stretch, which
Mm.
I'd never been before. I don't think I've been anywhere for a 9 month stretch for 20 something years when I was writing American Gods. Probably that was the last time I was anywhere for 9 months at a time and wasn't just on the road or doing something. So there's a level on which getting 9 months on Skye and getting to watch the seasons change, getting to watch what the sky did every night, getting to learn about the landscape near my house, and getting to walk it enough. So there was a lot of that kind of just getting to know the place and getting to learn it day by day and just continuing to fall in love with it, which made me happy, because being really, really miserable and being on my own, I thought maybe this has been my favorite place on the planet for 15 years. I hope that it's not broken for me. I hope I still like it. And it remains my favorite place on the planet. And that was good.
Why are you busy with lakes? You mentioned there were Seven Sisters.
There's the Neverwhere sequel, which has been moving slowly. It may move rather faster now that I'll be somewhere with people around. The biggest problem with Skye for me was it didn't make me want to write about people. It made me want to write about landscape. It made me want to write about stones and history.
It's beautiful.
It really is. And learning so much. I really was fortunate to make friends with some archaeologists who were down in that part of the world. They're pointing out to me what I was seeing, but not realizing what I was seeing then meant that I started reading more and more. And I'm now completely fascinated with the time before recorded history in a way that I never really was before. So anyway, all of that stuff has been obsessing me, and that may turn into a book or some stories or something somewhere down the line. I'm trying to figure out really how to write about one valley in Skye over 14,000 years and still make it interesting.
You've made an impassioned plea for people young and old to read. Why do you think storytelling is so important to humankind? Why is fantasy crucial?
I think all reading is crucial, but I think right now reading fiction is incredibly crucial. And I think it's crucial because it helps build empathy. And I think one of the things that is most wrong with the world that we find ourselves in right now is that people are losing empathy with each other. People are getting lost behind their own eyes and not realizing that other people matter and that other people's lives are important. And I think one of the biggest gifts that reading fiction can give you is to get you out of your own head and into somebody else's, and to realize that everybody else out there is a me as well.
You've inspired many generations of young writers, myself including. So I've got two questions. Number one, do you have a favorite new author? So who and why? And number two is, what would you say to a teenager who wants to be like Neil Gaiman, dreamweaver and storyteller?
Well, let's start out with the second one first. What I would say to any teenager who wants to be like me is great. That's wonderful. When I started out, I wanted to be the next Michael Moorcock, or maybe the next Larry Niven, or the next Arthur C. Clarke, or the next Tolkien, or the next Diana Wynne Jones, or the next Ursula K. Le Guin. And what is great is I didn't get to be any of those people. Because if you start writing, what you turn into is the first you. And that's much more interesting to be the first you than to be the next me, because I've already been me. But what I love is young writers discover who they are, and recommending authors. Well, given that this is Singapore, let me just tell everybody to go and read the works of Neon Yang, who was also J.Y. Yang.
Yes.
And they are incredible, and they were my student at the Clarion West Writers course in Seattle in, I think, 2013. And they were brilliant then, and they're even better now. So,
yeah, they are. So, second last question. You've been to so many places, you've written about so many things. Ultimately, Neil, what would you consider a life well lived?
This is one of those lovely ones where I think, there are two different versions of my answer for this. One of which is just a life well lived, is a life where you do as little harm as possible and leave the world a more interesting, better place if you can, but at least a more interesting place for you having been there. Like there's the Hippocratic oath for doctors: first, do no harm. And the truth is, if you are a human being and you're here on this planet, you're going to do harm. You're going to break people's hearts. You're going to mess things up. You're going to do that, that thing that you said that you don't even remember saying is going to be the thing that somebody is going to carry as it cross the years to come. But that also then takes you into places where you go, well, kindness is huge. Forgiveness is huge. Empathy is enormous. And friendship, I think the older I get, the more I realize how much I valued the friends I have who are no longer with me. The flip side of that is that I also realize how much I ought to be valuing the friends who still are.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts and your time with us, Neil. But last but not least, the team at Gen X Singapore would like you to say something in Singlish. Would you like to learn? Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I just need you to say this. Hi, I'm Neil Gaiman. Check out my exclusive interview with Gen X Singapore. Don't say Bojio. So Bojio means like you're not invited. So that's Singlish.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's
great. Let me try it.
Bojio.
Hi, I'm Neil Gaiman. Check out my exclusive interview with Gen X Singapore. Don't say Bojio.